West Sacramento's the Contra Costa County-based Seeno home building empire is once again in the legal crosshairs, this time for destroying a Native American burial ground in West Sacramento, according to a legal complaint filed in Yolo County. On October 6, 2015, a Seeno family subcontractor bulldozing land for the new housing development uncovered human remains. The worker texted a photo of what turned out to be Native American remains to the Seeno Development's project manager. "We dug this out, should we call the police?" "No," the representative texted back. "Need to hide that shit now." The "smoking gun" text message, as Yolo County District Attorney Jeff Reisig called it in a television interview, is at the heart of a civil complaint he filed last week against several Seeno family companies, including Seeno Financial. Reisig alleges the entities violated laws prohibiting the wanton removal of Native American remains, and the requirement to call the coroner upon encountering human remains. The county is seeking damages of more than $500,000. The defendant's unlawful conduct has resulted in the destruction and damage of countless Native American remains, Reisig said in a statement. The flagrant disregard of the sanctity of the burial site is indefensible and deeply offensive. For 2 decades, the powerful East Bay family had been informed that its 800-home project on 269 acres of former agricultural land in Yolo County was likely the location of a Patwin tribe burial ground. That the company, which has a checkered history of failures to comply with environmental regulations, wound up spreading well over a dozen Native American skeletal remains throughout the development in 2015, according to prosecutor David Irie. Lori Garcia crosses Greenbrier Road in West Sacramento with her dog Diego on July 13, 2018. Earlier in the day, the Yolo County District Attorney filed a civil suit against 4 companies, including Seeno Construction, suspected of bulldozing Native American burial grounds in the West Sacramento subdivision. Jose Luis Villegas, Sacramento Bee, in a statement Thursday by Seeno, the company said it would defend itself against the complaint and that none of the remains were removed from the site or desecrated. The company said it followed the laws and project guidelines when it found the remains, and over the past 3 years have continued to pay for tribal monitors and an archaeology team to properly care for future discoveries. Throughout the development of the project, we have been sensitive to this issue and ceased work in any area where such features have been discovered, Louis Parsons, a Seeno executive, said in a statement. "We have treated this matter sensitively and in compliance with all applicable laws," Attorney Jim Calopi said. The 2015 text message was taken out of context, and that while the wording was regrettable, behind the scenes the companies were already moving to send an archaeologist to the site as soon as possible. "All the time, work was halted," Calopi said. Since the 2015 discovery, the Ochadihiwanta Nation has worked closely with various agencies, maintaining tribal monitors at the site and overseeing the protection of numerous additional discoveries of remains. In a statement, Cultural Resources Committee Chairman Leland Kincher said he agreed with the charges. "It is equally important to remember these are the sacred resting places of our tribal ancestors and family members," Kincher said. "And, while their resting places may not be marked with headstones or other symbols of cemeteries that may seem more familiar, their sanctity is no less important. Their desecration hurts us deeply." A survey of the land done in 1986, before the Seenos owned the property, showed large swaths suspected of containing archaeological resources, according to the Yolo County DA complaint. In 1994, a draft environmental impact report for the area confirmed that presence. The Seenos acquired the property and began planning for Newport Estates a few years later. As a condition of project approval, the city required the company to stop construction immediately within 65 feet of a discovery until an archaeologist could determine the significance of the find and recommend mitigation. And it did. At first, in 2001, workers grading the land uncovered a Native American burial. An archaeologist and tribal member were appropriately brought in then, according to the complaint, and the remains were buried elsewhere. By 2015, construction had moved to areas that had been flagged as having significant archaeological resources, but the Seenos did not notify their subcontractors, Reisig wrote in the complaint. The day the subcontractor found the remains and the project manager allegedly told the worker to cover it up, a Sacramento television crew was tipped off and aired a story. West Sacramento police visited the site the next day and contacted the company, according to the complaint. Prosecutors alleged the Seenos belatedly hired an archaeologist who confirmed that more than a dozen skeletal remains were spread across Newport estates due to previous grading activity. The allegations of flouting environmental regulations are not the first for the Seenos. In 2002, the Seenos were fined $1 million for destroying endangered red-legged frog habitat in a Pittsburgh housing development. 2 years later, the Nevada Gaming Control Board fined the Seenos, who own casinos in that state, $775,000 for not alerting the agency of their environmental violations and other issues. One commissioner told Albert Seeno Jr., "When you have an action where there is an intentional destroying of habitat for a federally listed endangered species, that, to me, kind of tells me a lot about the person who is standing before me." In 2008, the Seenos were fined almost $3 million for altering a stream, water pollution and waste discharge violations concerning grading of an Antioch subdivision. As part of the Antioch subdivision settlement, a permanent injunction required the Seenos to incorporate a 5-year environmental instructional program for all their employees and to avoid new violations of federal water regulations. The company's problems haven't been solely environmental. In 2016, Discovery Sales, the sales arm of the Seeno home building empire, accepted a guilty plea from federal prosecutors involving a mortgage fraud scheme and was ordered to pay fines and restitution of $11 million.